What is up, NFC North Roundtable supporters, man? What a crazy, crazy week to be an NFC North fan of some sort. The Packers lose to the Browns. Everybody saw that coming. The Lions beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Chicago looked like a competent team again. I heard Nick smoking cigars like crazy. And then the Vikings blew out the Bengals. Absolutely insane. Let me get the panelists in here. We got Bass. Oh, whoa. Where did everybody go? How did everybody leave me? What's going on here? Dosed, are you doing this? Are you doing this?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Don't put that juju on me. Bass, how you doing, brother?
Oh, man. It's a rough week. It's a rough week because not only do we lose to the Cleveland Browns in their Browns uniform sponsored by Dude Wipes, which is a travesty on its own, but I picked every game wrong. Like all the NFC North teams won. I picked them to lose. It was an awful week. I can't even sugarcoat it. It was terrible. I'm so excited for this show, obviously, though.
Well, let's start breaking things down. And we're going to start with the Vikings beat down 48-10 over the Bengals. One bar. Talk to me about this game, man. And is there or should there be a quarterback controversy brewing for the Minnesota Vikings, brother?
Baz, I don't remember you picking against the Vikings. You picked the Bengals over the Vikings, man.
I think 9-6. I said so.
Well, I said 3-0 Vikings would win, so I was about just as far off. So, look, man. First, I'll start with the games itself. Like the Vikings fans needed this. 2 primetime games out of the gates, just disasters, both of them. Yeah, they came back and beat the lowly Bears. But then the game after that, the Falcons, they just get spanked at home. They needed this thing 48-10. Nobody saw this coming. It was great to just sit back and enjoy a win without any concern or any worries. So, I mean, to break it down, it's I'd love to say the 48 all came from this big explosive offense, but it was all D, baby. It was all defense. Brian Flores, like this is the year. After this year, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he never will. He absolutely lit it up. 5 turnovers, 4 sacks, 2 defensive touchdowns. I'll talk about Isaiah Rodgers, but it was defense. And yeah, it was Jake Browning for the Bengals, who also, is a known Viking non-lover. The dude beat us last. A former Viking came out and just said, how dare you cut me, blah, blah, blah. It was nice to put him in his place. Anyways, it was all defense. The big thing on offense was that Christian Darrisaw was back. The difference for having that man, that beast, that beautiful man on the field, protecting Carson Wentz, getting that run game going is absolutely insane. Wherever they're paying him, they need to double it because it was just the biggest game changer out of them all. To go to Carson Wentz looked fine. He looked good. I mean, you look at the numbers, 75 yards, a couple tutties. It was like he was very efficient. The biggest difference between him and JJ McCarthy was just kind of the confidence a little bit. You could tell he's a little more comfortable back in the pocket and just not making mistakes. That was the biggest thing, being comfortable, not making mistakes. And yeah, he let it fly a little bit better as far as just being a little more aggressive, finding Justin Jefferson. So there was clearly a difference. As far as the controversy, I think they're very far away from that. We'll see what happens in the next couple of games. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. They have the Steelers and they have the Browns. So 2 very, very winnable games. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's even close to a controversy yet, but it was nice to see Carson Wentz out there. I saw a message about like the Vikings and ginger quarterbacks. I'm a ginger, so I can say this is they just got something, man. Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, something's in the water. They can make anything happen. So it was a great game. Going back to defense quick, Isaiah Rodgers, I'm sure you guys have seen all the 99.9 PFF, 2 scores, like absolutely insane game by him. And the reason I bring it up is like Kwesi gets a lot of crap for his draft picks, but free agency, man, the guy can find some gems. And even before this game, Isaiah Rodgers had a couple of very, very good games out there. So secondary was always a concern coming into this year. Isaiah Rodgers, through 3 games anyways, stuff can change, has shown that he has been an absolute bargain. But it's crazy because it wasn't the most perfect game. It was 40-10 because they could have easily put up 60 against the Bengals. They put in Max Brosmer, 3rd stringer, for the 4th quarter and just took off the gas, but they had 13 penalties. There's some stuff to clean up. There's no doubt, but Jordan Mason, Jesse, I'm going to talk about him every time because he's your former boy. 118 yards, 116 yards. Aaron Jones was out with an injury, and it forced the Vikings' hands to put Mason out there right out of the gates, which they haven't done the first 2 weeks. And he's RB1. He's got to be RB1. He is just so smooth, and he's very powerful. I'm preaching to you, Jess, because you've seen it, but the man can run the rock, and he will be RB1. And when Aaron Jones comes back, it'll just be a nice little cherry on top. But wrap it up, put a bow on it. It was a very, very good game. Still some stuff to clean up. No controversy at all. Still got to get Justin Jefferson more involved. He really hasn't done much of anything. And I think Jordan Addison coming back week 3 will be great addition to the offense. So 2-1. That's all that matters. 2-1.
Well, I'll say this about JP Mason. I mean, he broke out last year. Maybe people took notice, maybe they didn't, but he's very, I don't want to compare him to Marshawn Lynch as far as being that good, but stylistically, he looks like Marshawn Lynch. Like there is no difference. The way they're built, the way they run, everything is very, very similar. And he doesn't go backwards. That is one thing. He will, even if he gets hit in the backfield, he's falling forward. He runs with power. He runs with balance. He can get to the hole quickly. So I think Mason is a great addition for you guys. And you guys are getting Addison back too. So the only reason I bring up the Wentz thing and the controversy is because I have seen it as a 49er fan with the whole Lance situation. You have a team that's built to win now, and then you've got these two alternate timelines happening parallel with each other where you're trying to develop this young quarterback. You know that he needs reps and he needs to play, but at what point can you keep him out there if you're not winning games? Really, what Carson Wentz brings is not this amazing skill set or amazing play anymore. He's not that guy, but he brings stability. He brings a consistency. It doesn't have to be great. You can rely on the run game. You can rely on the defense, make some timely throws here or there, and you've got the receivers. And if you've got a rookie that can't yet do that, or a second-year player that can't yet do that, I do think that it gets very, very complicated because winning games is what this league's about. So we'll see. We'll have to monitor the situation, but that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, and I think the next two games, like if Carson Wentz ends up going 3-0, it's going to be a discussion, no matter how sexy it is. The worst part with this big game that they just had is the first 2 weeks. This is exactly how the Vikings wanted to play with J.J. McCarthy out there, running the ball and being aggressive, which they did, and defense playing their ass off, which they did. The first 2 weeks, they just didn't do it. So that would have been the perfect game for J.J. McCarthy because Wentz didn't do a ton. But yeah, if they get a couple more dubs, it will absolutely be a conversation.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get to the one loss within the division. The Packers losing to the Browns 13-10. And I mean, this is the classic trap game here. It definitely is. And, I've warned about the Browns a lot in the past. One thing we definitely do know is that they have a very good defense, especially when they're at home. And they got after Jordan Love in the offense and kind of held him down. You had your chance, obviously special teams blunders, which that was crazy. I was watching that game on the quad box and was like, special teams blunder. Then the Rams game, special teams blunder. Tampa Bay game, special teams blunder. It was like boom, 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 right all in a row live. It was really kind of crazy to see it all happen. But unfortunately for the Packers, this ended up in a loss for them. We'll talk about the Cowboys next. That's who they have coming up. A lot of interesting things here because, you did have an offensive lineman come out and say that we're going to go undefeated. And then all of a sudden they lose. You can't win them all. You're eventually going to lose games. And this is the NFL. You know that better than anybody, Bass. But talk to me about this game, how you're feeling coming off of it, and what happened to lead to this 13-10 loss here.
Yeah, man, it was a nasty one. Like I can't even sit here and sugarcoat it and be like, oh, this is why this one thing is why the Packers lost, or this is why it happened, or sit here and give like a couple excuses why it happened. It was just all around ugly. The one thing I will say is, it was a defensive game, defense versus defense. We know how good that Browns defense was going in. I still thought the Packers could find some success against that defense, right? We knew how good their run defense was, but I thought, hey, Matt LaFleur can go into this game knowing that they play a lot of man coverage and have something for them. But as for the Packers defense, I was still very impressed with it. They didn't really give up too many situations where it's like, okay, that's on the defense. The Jordan Love interception, which we'll talk about, set the defense up to allow a touchdown right away. The blocked field goal, 2 plays, they're in field goal range to win it, right? They allowed 0 points in the entire first half against the Browns, as you should against Joe Flacco. Again, shout out Joe Flacco. I guess I credit him too much because he ended up winning this game, but 0 points allowed in the first half. They didn't allow a touchdown in all 3 quarters. That's been consistent through all 3 weeks. No touchdowns allowed in the first 3 quarters. So the defense is doing their job. They were just put in very bad situations. They still got pressure on Flacco. The run defense was worse in the first 2 weeks. Just, credit to Judkins. He seems like a really capable back there in Cleveland. But, the defense was fine. Overall, not worried about the defense one bit. Now, obviously, the offense is what lost this game. Offense and special teams for the Green Bay Packers. Offense was absolutely disgusting. Again, massive shout out to this Cleveland Browns defense. But the Packers, what felt like to me was going into this game, the Browns ran the most man coverage in the NFL. And I think that's what the Packers game plan for. And then all of a sudden they were barely running man. They're running some quarters, running some cover 2, running a lot of zone. And I think Matt LaFleur game plan this whole time for man coverage, and then gets into this game and not only doesn't have a plan for zone and quarters, but his offensive line probably has one of the worst performances I've ever seen as a Packers fan. And I'm not sugarcoating that. Like, if you were to actually look at the PFF grades from this game, the bottom 5 grades, all sub 45, are all 5 offensive linemen: Jenkins, Belton, Banks, Morgan, Walker. Sean Ryan is slightly above that at 54.3. But overall, this offensive line, how poorly it played, I mean, it seems like they saw stunts for the first time in their life in this game. I was watching some of the tape, and just right off the get-go and first down, stunt rips by Elton Jenkins. Jordan Love is sacked. He was put on the ground 5 times. A lot of times was rushed off of his base, had to go to second read, third read. But at that point, the Browns were, already in his face, and he couldn't make a good throw. There was 0 run game. Obviously, the Packers weren't able to run the football. They really haven't been able to all season so far. And, Jacobs 16 for 30, 1.9 average. But one thing about Josh Jacobs is pretty much all of his yards are after contact this year so far. So this offensive line has not been able to run block well. It's not really on Jacobs, in my opinion. And I think overall the Packers offense and Matt LaFleur played scared. And that's kind of a reoccurring theme in games like this, where you're kind of sitting there going, they feel too conservative. Like, you're up 10-0. You need to have that killer mentality. And we didn't really feel like it was there. They had 2 different game plans. Matt LaFleur had a game plan from when Myles Garrett was on the field and when he was off the field. I understand wanting to, build things around knowing where Myles Garrett is, but that's playing too scared. It reminds me of the days when we played Seattle Legion of Boom, and they just completely wiped off one side of the field just because Richard Sherman was over there. And you can't be playing that scared. Myles Garrett is a absolutely insane player, one of the best defenders to ever do it, but you can't be putting 3 players on him, still failing, and allowing other players like Mason Graham, Malik Collins to eat one-on-one opportunities and absolutely dominate your inside of your offensive line. Now, as for Jordan Love, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Jordan Love isn't the answer. He isn't it. First off, with 1.9 seconds to throw, I don't know what quarterback would have had a great day against this Cleveland Browns defense with that offensive line and the way that they were playing. Saying that, I still think the Packers should have utilized more play action. It's statistically proven that you don't need a good run game for play action to work. I think they ran 10 play action plays, 2 of which ended up in Jordan Love running, 8 of which passes, 6 completed. Also, screen plays. We ran 6 of them. They were our most efficient plays on offense, 8.3 yards per attempt. Run more screen plays. We ran 6 all game. They were the ones that were working. Our biggest play outside of the Matthew Golden streak route was a 31-yard screen route, or a screen play to Josh Jacobs. I just really, this offense, it didn't seem like they had a great game plan for it. It seemed like they were kind of looking ahead to Dallas. It really did feel that way, where it's like, okay, it's the Cleveland Browns. They play a lot of man. We can beat man coverage. Let's kind of just, do we know what we're doing in this game and not really game plan it too heavily outside of worrying about Myles Garrett. And the Browns, ate the Packers lunch, stole their lunch money. I mean, they were stacking the box. They were selling out against the run. They had 8 players in the box on first down. Every linebacker was taking 3 steps up every single time. It looked like a run play, and the Packers still couldn't run the ball. They still couldn't pass the ball, even though the Browns, were giving them opportunities that they could have taken one-on-one opportunities on the outside. Didn't do that as much. And one key difference here also is the Packers were really handcuffed on this offensive side of the football. Is, last week against the Commanders, Jordan Love's average depth of target, 14.7 yards. Against the Cleveland Browns, 1.9 yards. It's a complete polar opposite what we saw on offense. But saying all of this, saying how terrible of a game it was and how I just want to think of the game and just forget it and put it in the past and move on. The Packers are still at the top of the division. And if through 3 weeks, the game that is statistically going to help you more if you were to lose would be the Browns, because you don't want to lose to a division rival in the Lions, and you don't want to lose into an NFC conference opponent in the Commanders. So if out of the first 3 games they were to lose one, as much as it hurts to lose to the Browns, I think that was the one that helps them down the road more. Plus, it could be a punch in the mouth that they very well need. And I just hope that they can really bounce back here in week 4 against Dallas, which I think they will.
I think one thing that's super underrated is that I know Jim Schwartz is like 12-0 against Shanahan in his career. And I would imagine that it's very similar against LaFleur and McVay. I think sometimes you just have this offense down and he knows exactly what to do and he's going to give them fits. And it's just a bad matchup for that coaching tree. It just is. And so I think that that's one thing that isn't taken into account going into this game. To your point, it happened. It's against a non-division opponent, and you guys are on to the next week. But definitely a loss that you didn't expect to have. Now the NFC North is very wide open, as if it wasn't already. And that really what this means is that week 1 game against Detroit looms very, very large right now. Very, very large, and could be the difference potentially in to see how this division plays out long term. But we will see about that.
Real quick. I'm seeing a lot of comments. I just want to call it out real quick. A lot of people are trash talking Love right now. Look, he threw a bad interception. That was one bad throw. Do you not understand that Love still put them in a position to win for a game-winning 44-yard field goal that should have been made, but Jordan Morgan didn't block the interior? How is that Love's fault? Like, he had a bad throw on that, but everything else in the game, like, it was offensive line. The offensive line absolutely imploded. So, I just wanted to comment on that. He still put them in a position, as bad as the game was, as bad as the offense was, they were still in a position to win.
Absolutely. Nick, my man, first time coming in after a win. I know this one has to feel good. You guys beat the brakes off the Cowboys. It started out very quick. You guys never looked back. This game was really never in doubt. And there was a cool clip after this game of Ben Johnson in the locker room getting the game ball from Caleb Williams, and Ben Johnson kind of showing off his coaching chops, how much that team really rallies around him, loves him. Overall, though, watching your Bears get a win, I know it had to feel good. Talk to me about this game, man. How did they get it done?
So it started off pretty rough. I mean, opening drive, Bears went 0 for 3. They started with the ball. Obviously, we're not getting the ball back in the second half. That being said, they looked great after that point. They got Colson Loveland involved. They got the rest of the tight ends involved. They got every wide receiver. I mean, 4 different wide receivers with receiving touchdowns is great. And Caleb obviously did a good job winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week when the Bears played the last 2 winners of the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So big ups for the Chicago Bears right there. They looked confident throughout the game. It did get a little close before halftime, but then they adjusted. They kept their momentum going. They put their head down, and they just went pedal to the metal. And I just got to say this, belt to the ass for Matt Eberflus. I mean, that guy came back to Chicago, looked like a complete loser. Bears put up 31 on him. He was a loser, a big loser, if you know what a loser looks like. Yeah, Eberflus just looked lost on that Cowboys sideline. Bears overall looked great. So Caleb, obviously, 298 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 142.6 QBR, and 14 rushing yards. Guy was impactful. He's on pace for 39 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and over 4,000 passing yards, which I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's on pace for it. His percentage of completion has gone up week over week. He looks more comfortable going through reads. And honestly, a lot of it came from the offensive line play. 5 pressures allowed, 1 quarterback hit, and only 1 penalty. That was a big win. And the Bears' offensive line's been a big struggle for a while. The fact that they were able to do what they did against the Dallas Cowboys, where you knew Matt Eberflus was going to be sent in the house and trying to get to rattle Caleb's cage, offensive line didn't allow that to happen. And that's why the wide receivers looked great. Luther Burden, 33.3 yards per catch, first receiving touchdown of his career. Looked fantastic. Roma Dunze, 4 touchdowns in 9 quarters and 4 in the last 3 games. It's been fantastic too. DJ Moore finally got in on the action. And then Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. Bears' entire offense was working. Defense really stepped up too. It all started with Tyreek Stevenson and the strip sack. They looked really confident against Dak Prescott, who's a guy who throws more than 4,000 yards per season, always a top quarterback. Bears shut him down really well, and they were still shutting down that offense before even CeeDee Lamb got put out. So Bears defense, every part of every phase of this team looked really solid. There's still a lot of work to go into play. We still need to learn to establish the run. We still need to work on getting pressure to the backfield, even though the Bears did have 2 sacks with Montez Sweat and Dominique Robinson, but we really got to learn to stop the run. But I'm stoked with how the Bears played, especially knowing Matt Eberflus was on the other sideline and got their first win. Now they go into Vegas, potentially being able to come 500 out of it, entering the bye. That's big for this team from a momentum, from a culture, and overall just how their confidence level is going throughout this game or this season. So I'm happy with how the game went. I thought they played really well throughout, minus the opening drive, and that's all that matters, especially bouncing back after a horrible game against the Detroit Lions the week before.
Saw a really funny tweet. Sorry, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. Yeah. It was Matt Eberflus is finally developing Caleb Williams.
Jesus. Hey, it's true, though.
Very well played. Very well played. Well, listen, when you look at Caleb Williams, 7 touchdown passes, 1 interception, a 107.6 passer rating, it looks really, really good on paper. What I can say is just from watching the games, and I didn't watch too much of this game, so I can't say it. I'm genuinely asking the question. I know that early on in the season, those first drives, the Bears were able to go score during the scripted plays, and then it seemed like the wheels kind of fell off. Play to play, Caleb Williams certainly had some misses throughout the game. Was this game any different? I know that the first drive they stalled, and then after that, it was opposite. It was like they looked okay, but overall, like throw to throw, when you look at him in this game, do you feel like he was more in rhythm, more comfortable, able to hit the throws more consistently? What did you see from Caleb Williams?
No, I mean, he just like walking up to the line was like, I know what I'm doing. He wasn't looking around. He didn't have a panicked look on his face like a rookie. He was looking around like, okay, I know where I'm going on this one. I'm not letting the defense know right now. Along with that, too, you actually saw him switching up plays at the line, which I thought was something new that we haven't seen out of him in a while or during his time in the NFL. So his confidence overall looked a ton better. He still had some overthrows, but the Luther Burden flea flicker was unbelievable. I mean, like he stepped into it so well, arguably his best throw of his career, did a really good job at executing it. And he had a lot of pressure coming at him too during that play. So Caleb just looks a lot more confident out there. That's exactly what we're looking for as Bears fans. That's exactly what he needs to do. And if he can continue to progress like this, that's where the Bears, and this is a progression season. I know that me being as crazy as I am, I'm saying the Bears are going to the playoffs every single year. A lot of people put them at 8-9, 9-8. That's progression year over year, but it matters what Caleb's going to do this year and showing that he can learn this offense, because this is what it's supposed to be for the foreseeable future, not him rotating out play callers every single year like we do in Chicago. So that's what the major difference has been. And I like that he's not afraid to throw the ball away. He's not afraid to also take it himself instead of taking a sack like last year. So he's been doing a lot better so far, and we've seen it week in and week out.
No, that's fantastic news. I'm curious to see just how his career progresses. And, it was interesting because you could start to believe that maybe it wasn't a match. Maybe Caleb doesn't play on time and isn't accurate enough for this offense. And then you see it where it does work out and it looks good. So it's just a work in progress. This is year one together. We'll see how it plays out. But ultimately, it was good to see Caleb Williams bounce back, and let's see if he can put together back-to-back weeks. All right, let me read these supers real quick. Chris says, Packers suck. They lost to the Browns. Skol Vikings. Okay, fair enough. Jake, the Minnesota sports fan, says, Skol, much love to the best division in the NFL. I agree. It is the best division top to bottom. These teams are absolutely stacked, in my opinion. And speaking of stacked and beating another team in a good division, my gosh, man, the Detroit Lions do the seemingly impossible, beat Lamar Jackson, an NFC team to beat Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. And really, they were kind of in control of this game for most of it. I mean, I know it got tight and it was tied up there for a bit, but ultimately they were able to run the ball. Jared Goff was super efficient throughout the course of the game. And Dan Campbell, man, everybody doubts Dan Campbell, but he is still getting it done with new coordinators all the way around. That was a very, very impressive victory. Dose, talk to me about this one. You did pick the Lions to win. You were fairly confident in it. Listen, I didn't necessarily believe, but I don't need to believe. They believed in themselves and they got this baby done. So talk to me about how it happened.
Well, I'll be fair. There's a good chance I take the Lions every week this year. So just, there's a chance that that's the case. No, look, man, it was what you said. I think as the game rolled along, once we got past the first drive, there was a couple of negatives runs in that first drive. And then once we got beyond that first drive, it felt like we were just pushing around Baltimore. And what I loved about it is I just felt the approach to doing it made a lot of sense. I thought the way that they went about it, Justin Madubuike was out a couple of days before the game, so we knew that was going to change a lot up front. And I didn't think they were great up front outside of that, especially stopping the run. So I love that they kind of simplified it to the sense of a lot of inside rushing, a lot of dual rushing. It was just straight at them. And instead of like, hey, we're going to do this is the way we play. It was let's tap into the versatility we have up front and let's go ahead and just push these guys around. And they eventually did that. And it was the Dave Montgomery game for that reason. As the game rolled along, we had that rough little stretch right before half. We made a great stop at the goal line, which was one of the best goal line stand. I mean, typically you get fired up as a fan because you get a couple stops and it's like on fourth down they scored. And like, oh gosh, that guy was wide open. You got fired up for no reason. But this one was great. We covered it up well. Lamar had nowhere to go with the football, and we forced a fumble. And then on offense, we got, in my opinion, too aggressive. We were like, all right, we're going to throw the ball and go score again. And it was like, okay, I see what we're trying to do. I understand they're thinking like we got to score every possession. But from that side, like with the time left, I would have still ran the football because I didn't feel like they could stop us rushing it. So I feel like we got a little aggressive. We gave them the ball back. Then they go down and score. Now we're tied, and then they score coming out of half. So now we're all of a sudden trailing. So we had a pretty unfortunate swing, but the bounce back to that was great. The bounce back was great. And as you said, Jared Goff played fantastic. I truly think that he's playing the best that I've seen him to this point, and it's mainly because I think he's moving a little bit better. I think he's moving a little bit better. I feel like he's keeping things open a little bit more downfield. He's working to make the windows there that are available in zone coverage. And I think that it feels like an experience factor. Like even from jump, just the looks they were getting, those Tampa 2 looks from jump, like it felt like he was creating the openings because he was moving his eyes as the play was going on. And I feel like that's all it is. It's not like he's doing crazy things off script, but he's moving around in the pocket. And he started doing that a little bit last year. And I don't expect anything crazy to come of that, but it does feel like it adds something different to his game. And I feel like he is playing his best ball as we're now. So up front, the line came together. And I would say the back end. That's the other. Well, hey, we were on the back end last week. Back end did their thing. I'm glad we pointed out because the back end showed up. The secondary was there, man. I was so happy because, week one, we had some breakdowns. We had some easy communication stuff, and we were breaking down there. But when you face Lamar, it's a different animal because you just know every big play is this play's going too long. Lamar finds somebody open. And the marriage between that and what they did up front to really pass off everything. They you knew coming in, Baltimore's going to run a lot of deep over routes, deep crossers, make it chase everybody. Here comes the mesh. But we weren't chasing a lot of things. We did really good job, I think, of passing everything off, playing with leverage because of that. It wasn't the best start early. We gave up a couple of chunks, but we really, from there on, limited explosives until the final drive. And to finish off the game, it was really the defense. I mean, the offense did their thing to get the first, but the defense is what ended it, right? The punch out, and then to get another stop again after the 3 and out. Like the defense held their own. And I think that stretch of it was like sack, big play, sack, incomplete. It was Lamar Jackson had a good stat line, but he took 7 sacks and he ran for 35 yards and they didn't run for 100 as a team. So when you tie all that together, I mean, for the Lions against these guys, that felt pretty historic. It was like, that was way better than I anticipated it to be. And I think a lot of it came back to what they did in the secondary in this one. Zay Flowers wasn't effective at all. I mean, he was the guy. They just had DJ Reed travel with him. That's not to say I thought he was perfect, but I thought because they communicated pretty well that they were in good spots a lot of times. And then Al-Quadi Muhammad came to life and he just decided to cook a bit. But I give credit to guys like Kelvin Shepard, John Morton, because I think for week 3, I didn't know what to expect with new coordinators, but I expected it to take time. And while I think it will in some occasions, I think the biggest standout was as the game went on, it felt like they were willing to, again, be adaptive. And be like, okay, this works. Let's just try this. Specifically on the defense side of the ball, let's just kind of lean into this. And offensively, they just be like, this is the run scheme that works. Let's not get cute. Let's just do this over and over. And then we'll have our wrinkles off of it. So much of what they seemingly are doing now feels like a carryover from last year, and they've just expanded upon it. It's almost like John Moore was here the whole time. It's kind of weird. Feels like this guy was here more than 1 year. Like he was here the last 2 years to just pick up all this information. So it was great. It was great to get the win. It was great to get it against this team because no NFC team ever beats Lamar. So it felt like in some ways, like I felt we could play with them, but coming in, it was like, can we just keep it close? You know what I mean? Because there's something about the dang Ravens. Like, I just want to be in the game. And as you get to that fourth quarter, like, dude, I think we're kind of dominating them a little bit. So it was beautiful.
No, it was definitely a great win all the way around. And when you look at the two new coordinators, both of them showed off a bit in this game. I mean, the 7 sacks on Lamar, the game plan was brilliant around him and Henry. Fantastic job there. And then you had that one fantastic play to score the touchdown where you hand it off to Amon-Ra. He flips it. I mean, it was Ben Johnson-esque for sure. You're like, hold on a second. Like, where did this come from? So that was beautiful.
No, I'm glad you brought that because the first time, they did the sneak the first time they came out in that. But that look, I've seen before as a Lions fan. Like, we would do that a lot in fourth. And so the first time we see it, I'm like, oh, he's giving it to St. Brown. Then he does the sneak, and then they do it again. So that was like the play I was thinking of when I said that. It felt like he was here with the Lions because it was like, dude, I've seen them run this exact same thing for the last couple of years. Now he just has his own twist to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, man. Let's do some sleeper picks, huh?
Oh, snap.
All right, here we go. Get a 100% deposit match of up to $100 using promo code RTS. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy app in the business. You can play weekly, yearly, daily fantasy football, whatever it is that you enjoy. But we think we have skills, so we're going to do some more or less. And I'm going to have each of you pick one. First of all, we're taking our freebie. This is the best thing about Sleeper. They always give you a freebie every single week. Carson Wentz just needs 1 passing yard, and we win there. I need one more from you, though, one bar. Justin Jefferson, we're going to stay away from that one just because it's another promo. Okay, JP Mason, 79.5 rushing yards. More or less, brother?
Steelers are ass against the run. You can double that puppy. No, we're going higher. We're going higher for sure.
We're going to double that puppy, he says. All right. Cleveland and Detroit. Okay. Give me this dose. I'm going to give you 3 options here. Anytime TD, which one scores? Is it Gibbs, Montgomery, or St. Brown? Which one are we going with the more on?
I'm going to go St. Brown.
Okay. I like it. I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown, man. He might be my favorite non-49er in the league. All right, here we go. Let's see. Chicago versus Vegas. Oh, let's go with Caleb. How confident are we in Caleb? 1.5 passing TDs, more or less, Nick?
Lock it in.
Lock it in, he says. Okay, all right. That makes me feel uncomfortable in a weird way. Okay. We got
don't make it weird. You made it weird. Yeah, your head's in the gutter, not mine. We were picking plays, picking lots of plays. You're being a creepy sleeper like Joe. Okay, keep picking your games.
All right, Max. What's going on with Golden, man? He has been almost a non-factor, brother, all season. What's up with him?
He had his first big play last week, which I don't know if you guys saw it, where he kind of like caught it on a 9 against quarters, or I think cover 2 actually, and he just like went out of bounds. Like I watched it back on film probably 30 times, and he had about 5 yards to like continue to run upfield. Maybe he doesn't score, maybe he doesn't, but his speed, and he like just runs out of bounds, and the defender's like off to his left, like he could have at least tried to like tightrope up the sideline, something like that. But really, it's just been lack of targets. I mean, they started to involve him early in the Browns game, but obviously with Reed out now for this foreseeable future, like they're going to run more 12 personnel, and that does include Golden. So his time will come.
All right. Well, let's go with Parsons because you guys are playing the Cowboys. Does he get his revenge here?
He has to. I mean, he has to. Like, I don't foresee like how he doesn't. Right? He's led I think he leads the league in pressures. A lot of teams are double teaming. I'm sure the Cowboys will too because they know him, but I feel like he has to. He definitely has to.
Well, check this one out. $10 to win 195, fellas. This would be a banger if we hit this one. Here's what I will say. You can either tail us or you can fade us if you don't believe in our picks, but either way, make sure you use Sleeper, promo code RTS to get your 100% deposit match. All right, let me remove this one here. I'm going to pull up here, and we are going to share this screen. Hold on a second. Hold, please. You can only share one screen at a time. It's really, really frustrating, I got to say. All right, here we go. Let's talk about our other sponsor here, RotoWire, the ultimate tandem fantasy football tool. Promo code RTS for 15% off. And if you're playing Sleeper Fantasy, then you're definitely going to need RotoWire to go win that league. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is to use these rankings. So here's the way that I do it. I've got a super flex position in my league. I've also got it's a 3 running back league. It's very unique. I got to say, 7 reserves. What I can do here is I can save these settings, and then I can get rankings based off of my league settings, not the generic ESPN or whoever it is that you use, Yahoo. This is tailored to your league. So if you ever have any questions, should I play this wide receiver or this tight end or this running back in my flex spot, this quarterback versus this running back in my super flex, what should I do? Set the league to your league settings, and you can go ahead and get the rankings that you deserve. I like that Christian McCaffrey's number 1. They are force feeding him. I don't know how long that's going to last. As a 49er fan, I'm not going to lie, a little bit worried about the usage. But if he's on your fantasy team, you absolutely love it. CMC is certainly a number 1 overall spot in the rankings. But once again, RotoWire, it's the ultimate fantasy football tool. It's the best tandem app out there. And if you're using Sleeper, then certainly you want to use RotoWire as well. Promo code RTS for 15% off. All right, fellas, let's get into this week's games. And we're going to start with the Vikings versus the Steelers. They are the early game overseas this week. One bar, we'll get to you in a second. But Bass, who wins this game? What's the score? How do you see this one going down, brother?
I almost forgot it was overseas. It's in Dublin, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yep.
I almost forgot it was, and I think I'm going to switch my prediction because it is. And I'll start off by saying this. Aaron Rodgers is usually terrible overseas. Like, I don't know, when he was with the Packers, every time we played, I know it was just London, but I think we played there twice. It was just like so sluggish. Not saying that's going to 100% happen, but I actually had Pittsburgh 21-20, but I think I'm going to flip it to Minnesota 21-20 just because of that. I was going to ride with Rodgers just because, but I think Flores is going to bring a lot of pressure. Obviously, the O-line of the Steelers hasn't been great. I think Rodgers has been rushed through the process a lot this year. And maybe Carson Wentz, 2-0, and then he starts creating his little own Dobbs mania run here, and we keep moving on. I'm going to switch it just because I forgot it was overseas. I'm going to switch it. I'm going to go Minnesota 21-20.
All right, 21-20 Minnesota. I like this. Nick, talk to me, man. Who wins this one? The Vikings or the Steelers in Dublin, brother?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I feel like Rodgers doesn't play well overseas, and Minnesota coming off that absolute just beating of the Bengals. I got Minnesota winning this one. I feel like, Carson Wentz, keep riding it. It could be another Sam Howell 2.0, which is kind of crazy to think. But yeah, I got Minnesota in this one. I think that Rodgers is just finally going to fall apart a little bit here.
Come on, man.
I got them 31-21. I got this another high scoring game. I think Minnesota's offense looks really good so far. That's me being nice, one bar.
Wentz is cooking.
31-21. I absolutely love it. Hey, I don't know there's a little bit of pop from your mic. Maybe make sure that the XLR cable's plugged in. Maybe leave StreamYard, come back. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm picking up a little pop from your mic.
No, I'm hearing a little bit too.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
It's getting old.
Well, while you're messing with that, Dose, talk to me, man. Who wins this one in Dublin? Is it the Vikings or do the Steelers get the job done?
Yeah, well, look, man, Carson Wentz deserves his love, but I tell you what, real quick, the Bengals, I just felt bad for. I'm watching it. Oh my gosh, dude, they can't block or anything. They look horrible. The first play, they had like 3 defensive penalties against the run. Dude, you're on defense is a disaster. Okay, Nick, you good?
Yeah. Sorry, I was testing. I didn't think you
got
guys
angry.
I mean, my bad. I didn't. He's a Bengals fan. It's cool.
Yeah, easy.
That's what I think. The Carson Wentz things works in this game if they can run the ball against Pittsburgh. And so far, I believe that they will be able to run the ball. And I think Minnesota's defense is going to give them a ton to deal with. I don't think they're going to score much. I don't think Pittsburgh score much in this game. So I think it'll be low scoring. If it turns into a win for the Vikings, maybe it takes special teams play. I'm going to go 13-16 Vikings.
All right. All 3 of them picking the Vikings to win, one bar. I don't know if that's a good thing, but tell me who wins this game and why does it happen? What's your score prediction, brother?
I mean, I just don't think the Steelers are very good. I know they're 2-1. They beat the Jets, the Patriots. Their offense hasn't looked great. Their defense, surprisingly to me at least, hasn't looked great either. They're giving up a lot of yards in the air on the ground. So it's I think the Vikings can handle business here. We beat Aaron Rodgers last year in London when he was with the Jets. The Vikings, for some reason, I think they're 4 or 5-0 overseas. So I think they do win. I'm more on the side of Dion. I don't think it's going to be a sexy 48-10 game by any means. I think it will be low scoring. I think their whole thing is run the ball. Jordan Mason, Carson Wentz, do what you did last week. Go throw for $180. Go throw for 200 yards. We don't need anything crazy because Flores will get after Rodgers and he will put him in the dirt. I don't doubt that at all. But I think it'll be pretty low scoring, 17-14. Won't be the sexiest game in the world. Jordan Addison coming back will be huge. Ryan Kelly sounds like he will be back as well. So the offensive line finally is going to be put back together. And I just think Flores is going to cause some serious issues for old man Rodgers. So, Vikings get a dub. And Carson Wentz is going to – Vikings fans will be losing their panties. They're so excited that we get Carson Wentz, and he's going to be 2-0.
All right. Well, speaking of losing their panties, Lions versus Browns. I don't know how those two go together. I just figured that was a good segue to use. Lions versus Browns, 1 p.m. The Browns already beat a division foe, helping you out, but they might be trouble for Dose's Lions. We will see. Bass, I'm going to go with you first on this one because you just got done playing the Browns and you know that this team can sneak up on you. Do they do it again to the Detroit Lions, or do you think that the Lions can get it done versus the Browns? What do you think here?
I think the Lions are going to get it done. And I think the Packers kind of probably put on tape a lot of stuff that the Lions are going to look at that and go, okay, this is what we need to do. Like the Packers couldn't run the ball. They couldn't protect Jordan Love. It's going to come down to that. And we know the Lions can run the football. I feel like in all their 2 wins this season, Goff has been able to kind of run a little play action, sit back in the pocket, and find his receiver downfield. Obviously, it's going to come down to that, and there's no stopping Myles Garrett, but there is containing, and I think the Lions are going to have a better game plan for Myles Garrett than the Packers did. They're on fire right now, just coming off a huge win. They have a lot of confidence, and I think they're just going to have a good game plan against the Browns here, and that's just how I feel it's going to go down. I think they're going to protect Goff a lot better than the Packers did. I got the Lions. I still got a pretty low scoring just because that defense, you do have to give it respect. And I think the Browns might end up scoring the same amount they did against the Packers. We'll see. But I got Detroit 20-13.
I like it. TD, I have one question for you, brother. How can the Vikings win the Super Bowl if the Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl? Those two things don't go together.
TD Sports Talk now. I don't know if he's Finn's Talk anymore.
He's been saying that for the last 2 years. The Vikings win the Super Bowl, man. TD is our curse, man. TD, I love you, man. Killing us.
All right, Nick, talk to me about this one, man. Who wins? Is it the Browns? Do they sneak up on the division again, or do the Lions get this one done?
The Browns are a pretty good ball club. TD's in the chat. He's saying the Vikings are going to win this whole thing. I had to maybe not agree with him. They're going to win this week, but the Browns, the Cleveland Browns. What is a Brown? Is it a dog? Beautiful dogs. No, they're playing at Detroit. I got Detroit winning this one. That's pretty simple. They're so hard to beat at home. They definitely, after last week, showed that they can play against anybody. And though Cleveland's defense, very, very solid, as Baz knows, I think Detroit's going to win this one. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I think it's going to be top 21, and then I got Cleveland maybe scoring 10 in this one.
All right. One bar. Talk to me, man. Who wins this one? Is it the Lions, or can the Browns beat another division foe?
No, Browns are not going to win. I'm drinking the Detroit Lions juice again. I'm back on board after week 1. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? But they've been just kicking the shit out of everybody now. I think the Lions go there again. The Browns, they can't score points. They can't. I mean, even last week, they didn't get very many points, and it was damn near miracle at the end. I'm not going to give Baz any crap because the Vikings play the Browns in 2 weeks. I'll wait to see what happens there before I say anything. But Lions will take care of business, 21-6.
6, there we go.
Too Evil, Too Hope says Nick's Trump impression is amazing. I could listen to it for hours. We have a group chat, and we get to whether we want to or not. So
if you want more, I'm happy to give it to you. Please let me know. I'm a big winner. What can I say? I see another one that I should do the whole podcast in this voice maybe one time. If TD sends me a wig, I'll do it.
All right. Dose, man, we're talking about your Lions. They've now won 2 straight. Very, very impressive games, and they are playing the Browns, who just beat the Packers. Do the Lions fall into the same trap, or do they get this one done, in your opinion, brother?
Man, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of like what One Bar said. It was a crazy win for the Browns. Like, that was nuts. The way that turned out, I thought they had a great play on the interception that they had. You know, it felt really well disguised. But then, I mean, that was it. I mean, it was some goofiness that happened. That was not supposed to work. When it was 10-0, I'm like, oh, this is going to be 20-0. Cleveland's not going to score. And then they kind of did, but it was weird. I think that they probably do a little bit in this game, because I do think that Tillman's a legitimate receiver that they have on the outside. Judy didn't feel like he did much at all. Didn't feel like there was any downfield passing attack. I think that opens up a little bit for Cleveland. I think they're able to push the ball a bit. I think being in Detroit maybe helps that for some reason. So I'm with actually One Bar on this. I have them scoring 6 points in this game. I think we're going to do a little bit more offensively, but I think a big part will be putting points on the board defensively, setting ourselves up, easy touchdowns. I think we've seen this before against a team like this, so I'm going to go 20-6. Lions win it.
20-6. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. Bears coming off of their first victory of the season. I think this is a game where they could certainly go into that bye week, to Nick's point, 2-2, feeling very, very confident. The question is does that actually happen? We're going to go the opposite way this time. One Bar, you talk to me, man. Bears, Raiders in the 4:25 p.m. time slot. Who gets this one done, brother?
Yeah, I mean, both 1 and 2, both desperate for a dub. I'm very curious to see how the Bears actually bounce back after that big ass win last week. When I came on here and did my Bears prediction, I said I'm not picking the Bears until they get a win. They got to prove it. And they went out there and they did it. They took care of business. This is the perfect game. Raiders give up yards on the ground and the air, and quite a few points. So I'm going Bears, and I got the Bears 28-17. They're gonna do some work. They're gonna go into the bye. But if they do come out flat and lose this game after that big dub, I'm gonna be jumping back off, man. I'm gonna be very off and on the Bears this year. This is their moment. Come off that big dub and get another one going to the bye.
All right, Dose. That's 1 for the Bears. Can you make it 2, or do the Raiders get it done? Who wins this one, brother?
Yeah, and by the way, Nick, I did pick the Bears last week, so just keep that in mind as we're doing this. The defense.
I was told you didn't. I was told, everyone said that it was all against me when I left.
I took the Bears.
Well, thanks.
Handle business. You're welcome.
Thank you,
you know what I mean? I feel like there's a bad, you know what I mean? Sometimes we got bad vibes going on. Like, I hate the Bears or something. No, I took the Bears last week. You're going to get it done. But this week, the Raiders are going to get it done. Look, man, everybody's hyped up right now with this. It's time for the Raiders to step up. This defensive line has been atrocious. They've invested so much there. The Bears' offensive line is pretty atrocious as well. I think this Raiders defensive line comes to life. Gino's the kind of guy that you can watch one game like, oh my gosh, Gino's actually really good. Why are we not talking about him? Watch him again, like, this guy's horrendous. I think he's going to look pretty good in this game. I think without Jalen Johnson, look, Tyreek Stevenson was great last week. I think they're going to be effective. I think they have a plethora of options. They don't have a great option, but they have a lot of options. And Gino's going to be ripping that thing down the field. It won't be stuck in this underneath game. So for that reason, I think they're going to win this one. High scoring. I'm going to go 27-24 Raiders.
Wow, way to pull the rug out from underneath him after setting him up.
Can you say that my offensive line is bad? Because they're pretty darn good at protecting
We're about to find out.
the quarterback.
I think this week's going to look pretty bad.
You are going to, what the kids say, fuck around and find out. Here we go. What else you got? Come on, Baz. Give it to me. What you got?
Yeah, there it is. Go ahead, Baz.
Yeah. Sorry, Dion, but the Raiders don't move me at all. Like kind of like what One Bar said. Like, you're not going to pick the Bears until the Bears prove it. I'm like that way with the Raiders. Like, when I watch them, they just don't move me at all. I do agree that Gino can be wildly inconsistent. Some games, like, wow, okay, and then other games terrible. But here's the thing: Caleb has been playing very sound football. Like, his passer rating when clean is over 120. He has a big time throw percentage over 5%, a turnover worthy play percentage under 2%. So he's playing good football. I think it does come down to how well he can protect. And the Raiders front isn't the Dallas front. The Dallas front is one of the worst in the NFL getting after the quarterback. So I think it is going to look a little bit different, but they got guys stepping up, balling out, like a Dunze. I think he's like second in the league in terms of fantasy points or whatever. Luther Burden stepping up. Raiders, for some reason, can't run the football. Maybe they'll find some success, but I got the Bears 35-27.
Ooh. Two of them
wow.
picking the Bears.
Wasn't expecting that from the Baz Araki. Yeah, Dose, you must feel really stupid right now. You must have had Tylenol when you were in your mommy's tummy. Wow. Just putting that out there. They're very
That's
silly.
That's
I mean.
crazy.
He did it. He did it. Came from his heart.
He got
Respect.
it in. Wow. All right, Nick. Who's gonna win this one, man? I assume you're picking the Bears. How do they get it done, and what's the score, brother?
I don't think I can do the impression anymore right now. Okay, hang on. Let me get going a little bit. I'm excited for this one. To go back on Dose's point, I think our offensive line has been playing great. I mean, they've been playing great. They've been playing good, sound football. Have you played football before, Dose? You're a high school coach. Picture day was a couple weeks ago. We remember. Not the motel with you and Bass, though, at the draft. That was weird. Anyway, I got the Bears in this one winning. I think it's going to be a good one. I think 31. I think the Raiders will put up a little bit more of a fight, especially them being at home. They're definitely going to try to get established the run. I mean, Genti's definitely going to try to have a day, and he can do it against the Bears' rush defense, which kind of worries me because the Bears' rush defense is one of the worst in the NFL. Hopefully, things get going in a better direction for it, but I got the Bears winning this one. I think Caleb's locked in right now. He is going to have bumps this season, but minus Max Crosby, I'm not too worried about that Raiders defense. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to double team with Braxton Jones or whoever's going against Max Crosby this upcoming week. They're going to double team with a tight end. That being said, both tight ends are on the injury list at the moment. Hopefully they get off it sooner than later, but I'm not worried about this one. I think the Bears are going to win this one, enter the bye at 2-2, which a lot of Bears fans are going to be very, very happy about. That's where tons of people were predicted them to be. And if they're 2-2 entering the bye, I'm happy about it, showing progress, and they're overcoming a really bad 0-2 start.
All right, Bears get it done. 3 of the 4 panelists taking them. We're going to go back to Dose and circle back around. We got the Packers at the Cowboys. Sunday night football, man. This is going to be a good one. Do the Packers get back on track and beat the Cowboys, or do the Cowboys keep them reeling? Dose, how do you see this one going down?
I mean, I would love to see the Cowboys win this one. I mean, I want to see the Packers lose again, but it's also the Cowboys. So I'm not always that mad when the Packers beat the Cowboys. And I really do believe this is going to be atrocious. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a better word for this. This is going to be a disaster. I think the Cowboys are going to get steamrolled. I think we're going to see backups here in the fourth quarter. I don't think they can stop Green Bay's offense at all. I don't think they have a piece that matches up well for them defensively. I think their defense is horrible. And on the offense side of the ball, not having CeeDee Lamb, and then I also don't think they have Tyler Booger this week either. It's like you take CeeDee Lamb out of the offense, you think maybe they can keep up with them a bit in this one. I don't think they're going to keep up with them at all. I think that back end has been fantastic for Green Bay. So for that, I'm going to go 35-10 backups in the fourth quarter.
Wow. Okay, not even close. One bar. Do you agree with Dose, or can the Cowboys get this one done?
No, Cowboys ain't doing shit. The Packers own the Cowboys. It seems like they have for years. And I think what this comes down to, if you're a Cowboys fan, is basically they don't want Micah Parsons to do anything. Like, if Micah Parsons can't go there and get like 3 sacks, I think they're all concerned about that. Shut Parsons down. Whether we win or lose is secondary, and I think that's going to be their focus. And it's going to bite them right in the dick. So I got 24-10. I think the Packers take care of business. And Cowboys, I just don't think they're very good.
Cowboys, quote, ain't doing shit. Nick, do you agree with one bar, or do you think the Cowboys can get this one done? Let's not forget that Bass showed your Bears some love, man. Are you going to show it back to the Packers?
My one ask for Bass this week is to get Matt Eberflus fired. Because what better way for him to get fired against the Lions and then get fired against the Packers a year later, only 4 weeks in? I hope Green Bay just absolutely wipes the floor with Matt Eberflus's defense. I got Green Bay winning this one because they're going to come out pissed off after losing to the Browns. I got 35-10. I think they're going to demolish the Cowboys. And I think Micah Parsons, hear me out, 4 sacks.
Wow.
I'm all about that.
Okay. Not only are they picking your Packers, Bass, but they are picking them by a landslide, brother. Are you doing the same here, or do you have a little bit more respect for the Cowboys? What do you think?
It's kind of the similar, but first off, thanks, guys. Like, it seems like for some reason, like, everyone just has hatred towards the Cowboys this week. I'm cool with it, but like, everyone's just like, nah, fuck them. Like, it's Cowboys, but I'm like, all right, like, it's Packers we're talking about here. But yeah, I think it has to be a bounce back game, or else, then you kind of sound the alarm bells a little bit. Like, if the Packers don't have success against this defense, I don't really know what they're doing, because nothing with the Cowboys defense like excites me. Nothing. Like they're allowing 6.5 yards per play. It's the second worst. 125.3 quarterback rating, the second worst. They only have 4 sacks on the year. Why they traded away Parsons? No idea. 5th worst. 12 quarterback hits, 5th worst. Their pressure rate is 25th, 27.1%. So nothing they do on defense. It's like the polar opposite of last week. So the Packers played a really good defense, a really good front, and that was their downfall on offense. That was the reason why it all crumbled. I don't see Dallas having any success, even though Zach Tom's not going to be playing. Whoever we put out there, Belton, Kennard, hopefully not Morgan on right tackle at least. I think they're going to have still have success with this offensive line. You know, we played without those guys week 2 against the Commanders. We're completely fine on the offensive line. The Dallas defense, 32nd in pass defense. They allow 9.4 yards per drop back. And you guys, I think one bar said it, you know, the Packers have owned Dallas in recent history. 10 out of the last 11 games have ended in a Packers victory, including playoffs. And especially in Dallas, like every time they play there, they usually have a really good game. I'm very confident in the Packers having a bounce back here before their bye week 5, where they can get a little bit healthy. I agree. I mean, I'm not crazy large deficit, but it's still multi-score deficit. I have Green Bay winning 35-17.
Wow. 10 out of the last 11. I know that they went in there and stomped them a couple years ago in the playoffs. It was an upset in a lot of people's eyes, but that game was never close. There it is. There's the predictions for the week. Bartholomew coming in and says the Vikes winning the North. Don't at me, haters. Love
Carson
it.
Wentz, baby's got him crazy.
And then Sinister Jackal says, go Packers. We
Go,
appreciate
Sinister.
everybody
Let's go.
contributing. Packers, there we go. All right, fellas, listen, another fantastic week. I got to say, these are the best 4 panelists in the NFC North Division, no doubt about it. We will be back next week, same time, same place, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Do not miss it. Cannot wait for this week's games. Cannot wait to break them down and then look forward to week 5 coming up. My name is Jesse. I'm the host for Dose, Bass, One Bar, and Nick. We will be back next week. Much love. Peace.